WTVA 9 News begins with severe weather.
Numerous tornado touchdowns today, and one occurring at this moment near the Craig Springs area in Oktibbeha County, and it will encroach on the Starkville area. I highly encourage you to give the kids a call and make sure they find a tornado-safe place on the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. We showed these a moment ago, and it bears mentioning again because sometimes if your kids grow up the way I imagine mine will, they need nudged a few times. Sturdy structure, middle of the lowest floor, and go to a small windowless room, wrap up in blankets and pillows, put a helmet on to protect yourself debris, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. And that is not now. So Craig Springs in the near term, Starkville in the not so far term, both under a tornado warning for this. And it might look like a little blue dot on radar to you, but what this is to a meteorologist is confirmation that a tornado is on the ground south and west of Craig Springs. When this comes in with these darkest blues, that tells me there's a low correlation. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means you have tree branches, you have raindrops, you have other stuff we don't want to think about, all in the same pixel. And that's about as significant as any debris signature we've had this evening. And as we look for the last couple scans, we can tell that it is clearly moving toward the north and east with a speed at 40 miles per hour. So with that in mind, and as the seconds tick down, with the latest scan there continuing to show that tornado debris signature with a tornado likely on the ground, Starkville, we are now within 15 minutes. Now let's talk about this for a second. Notice where the dot is, and you can see a city grid outside of that. That is 15 minutes for the location of the dot there. So the southwest side of town, it's not 15 minutes. It's going to be less than that. And so let's look at how much less. So I'm going to move this at about 45 miles per hour. And so Craig Springs, we're talking less than 1 minute. You have to be in that tornado safe place. For some of the neighborhoods on the southwest side of Starkville there near St. Mark Drive, we're now 7 minutes or less. For the main city grid on the southwest side, we're 13 minutes or less. Southeast side, it's more like 14 minutes. But this is moving your direction. It's less than 10 miles away, and this is, as the description from the National Weather Service coming in, considerable damage likely to be occurring or have occurred with this tornado at this time. Let's go to the wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. There is no question here. Pixel-to-pixel wind change south of Craig Springs Road on the west side of Craig Springs, more than 100 miles per hour still. So this is a significant tornado likely on the ground, having done damage, likely to do more damage. I'm not going to give you a list of reasons to take shelter more complete than that. You've got to get to that tornado safe place. You've got to encourage the kids to do the same if they live up in Mississippi State, because this could be a deadly situation if not taken seriously. The threat tonight has been brief tornadoes, but we find ourselves in a zone where it's not, and this is not Matt and the crew here, this is meteorologists from all around the country recognizing the tornado potential tonight and saying that there remains a risk of not just tornadoes, but perhaps a strong tornado throughout some sections of our area. So there's no guarantees that this is going to pick back up. The description from the National Weather Service in Jackson, just to underscore the seriousness of the situation, where that tornado debris signature is down there. I'm going to zoom in on it. This little blue dot you see right there, up to in excess of 10,000 feet. What does that mean, and why is that important? Well, some studies have shown that when that debris is lofted greater than 8,000 feet, there's a potential that you have a tornado up to maybe EF2 strength. The higher that debris gets lofted, the stronger the tornado. And so anytime we're starting to talk about EF2 tornado and greater, and these come from a damage survey after the fact. So these are not gospel, but an idea to let you know when we start talking about these is when we're talking about strong tornadoes. And so that potential exists with this thunderstorm, and we continue to show strong pixel-to-pixel wind change on this that could be a factor. Now, pretty much over top of Craig Springs, if you live near Craig Springs, we've said it a lot, we need to remain in that tornado safe place. An encouraging sign is the wind couplet, the pixel-to-pixel wind change is broadening just a little bit. This had been on the ground. Let's see, our touchdown would have been just before the top of the hour, at probably about 56 after. We are now less than 10 minutes later, and it looks like this is attempting to try to lift. At this point, we still have enough of a population center in advance of this. We need to be in that tornado safe place, because the storms we've had have put down a tornado, lifted, put down a tornado, lifted, sometimes within the same county. So this is coming up on Starkville, and is a situation you do not want to mess with. You need to be in that tornado safe place on the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. We're going to take a moment here. I'm going to widen this out, make sure we're not missing anything else. As we talked about a few minutes ago before the top of that, and by the way, that curly, swirly one you see there is when even the algorithms behind the scenes can't argue with the fact that it is for sure tornado debris detected there. And so that's what Storm Track Doppler is seeing. We've had other tornado touchdowns out of this line of thunderstorms, and so there are a number of other ones that we are watching closely. So I'm going to that green and red mode here. I'm going to check on the Chickasaw County one that the tornado warning was canceled for right before the top of the hour. Still showing signs of rotation. I'm going to get you a track that takes that to Pontotoc. Is it producing a tornado? No. Could it produce a tornado? Possibly at some point. So I want to get you some advanced time frame here to be thinking ahead. Pontotoc 17 minutes, Ecru 27 minutes, and eventually New Albany at 40 minutes. If that were to do something, those are your time frames there. Farther south, a lot of other areas where there's some rotation, none that looks like it's producing a tornado at this moment here. And so I'm just not going to dwell on that when we have a tornado potentially still trying to form on our thunderstorm here in Chickasaw County. And what has happened, and this has been the weirdest night of storms, we have rotation 1 there, and we have rotation 2 there. We might have 2 tornadoes on this right now. One that's near Highway 12, one that's near Highway 25, both south and west of Starkville at this moment. One right there, and one right there. Let's check the pixel-to-pixel wind change on this if we can. It's going to pop up with a bunch of other stuff too. Okay, 66 miles per hour, and I'm not going to get as much on here because there's kind of a donut there in the middle, and that sometimes happens when you get that tornado damage as we saw earlier. Let's check the debris mode here. Still the one along Highway 25, a fairly significant tornado debris signature. This is something that confirms tornado touchdown after the fact. So it's not predictive, but it tells us that we have had it. So that's not to say this other one won't produce it, but this one definitely has at this point. By the way, John, I need some Mdot Cams, southwest side of Starkville if we can. We're going to cycle through these Mdot Cams as this moves into town. Another note for kids, because I was a college-aged male at one point. We appreciate your weather pictures. We don't need them. And we don't want you to send them. We want you to be in a sturdy structure because you're not going to see this. What are you going to see? Big blob of rain. So if you go outside and you're like, I'm going to take a picture, and you're just going to see rain. You're going to see lightning. And by the time you would see a tornado, it's going to be too late to take shelter, and you're probably not going to see it. It's just going to be this big wall of rain that hits you, and then all of a sudden you're like, what was that? Well, that was the tornado. So you definitely need to, male or female, take this seriously and stay in that tornado safe place, in the hallways, hanging out, just like Rebecca. Rebecca sends us a ton of weather pictures. This is where we want you. We want you like Rebecca's... Rebecca is, and looks like the dogs are in there, and they're just kind of passed out and waiting. Doesn't look like a lot of fun, but if you can do this, if you can give me 15 minutes, let's say 20 minutes. Give me 20 minutes if you live in the Starkville area, in that hallway, in that closet, in that safe place, and then you move on with the rest of your Saturday night. There might be a few other storms behind this we have to watch, but at least this is when I need it. I need it now as this continues to move in, because it's still showing signs of debris, and it still potentially could attempt to produce a tornado, and could be still producing one. Well, I mean, I still have a pixel-to-pixel wind change there of 69 miles per hour, and when it is one right next to each other, that's still very tight rotation. So we're going to assume that this is a tornado on the ground at this point, moving toward the Starkville area. It still is kicking out signs of tornado debris right there. Doesn't have to be a mile-wide tornado cause damage, and it might not be as significant and when it was kicking up that debris to 10,000 feet a few minutes ago, but we still believe the damage potential on this could be significant. At the split there between the bypass and Highway 25 is where it is at this moment, moving toward the north and east. The rainfall in the Starkville area continues to be very heavy. There's folks out on the roadway. And so this is where, if you're the responsible friend, you call your less responsible friends and encourage them to take shelter. Okay, so they're in their car, they're driving, where do they go? Well, get in a business that's open. I'll tell you right, you just need to get into some place where you can get into the middle of that lowest floor. I hope that's not a power outage that we're now dealing with there in the Starkville area. With that, go ahead and check some of the other cameras and see if they're all out. That would be no good. If you happen to still be watching us on the WTVA weather app, you can, of course, continue to stream us live there. And Hopefully that wasn't the power outage there in the Starkville area, but as we talk about over and over again, you can watch us live, WTVA weather and news apps. We do stream our live coverage there. So where's our tornado right now? Our circulation is still southwest of the Starkville area. This latest scan, I don't see it as well. It'd be north of 25, so there's Highway 12. I know you have a lot of the new retail or fairly recent retail, Walmart, that kind of stuff. That's all in that part right there on the west side of Starkville. This is more in the target zone than necessarily the university itself, but there's been very erratic, very random almost movement on these thunderstorms and these tornadoes today, so I'm extremely hesitant to rule out anybody in this red warning box at this point simply because of the way that these have bobbed and moved and changed. And we got to go up briefly here for just a second. I'm going to put quick storm track on this one near the Cumberland area because in watching that loop on a wider scale, there's just a couple spots here where these are trying to do it again. So I'm just going to get a wide track and then we're going to ride the rest of this out for folks there in the Starkville area. Farther north, Pine Bluff in 6 minutes, Sparta in 14 minutes, Treblock there in 25 minutes. Rotation that is not producing a tornado at this point, or we can't guarantee has produced a tornado at this point, but could at some point in the near future. Be like Kathleen, be like her friend, be like a good old putty dog there, and make sure that you are in your safe place. Wear the helmets, and let's just get through the next little bit here if you live in the Starkville area. Safe place self. Hey, I'll throw your pictures on TV. You want them on TV, right? Well, okay, take shelter, and we'll do that. We're not going to show people that aren't in their safe place, so let's do that, and let's get through the next little bit here, all right? So our rotation, southwest side of town, near 12 there, north of 25 on the latest scan. Let's check the debris mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. Our debris continues tracking directly along 25 at this point. So let's go to the rainfall here, make sure there's not something that's just that we're missing there. So I would put our circulation, just looking at the rainfall mode here, what we see back there, I'm not as convinced. I mean, maybe something right there north of 12, but just on the rainfall mode right there along 25, this is close enough where this is, if that, you just track it based on the debris, and let's do that. We're now, and it's going to give me Starkville as the location. It still says 7 minutes, but that's less clear than if we instead use our pointer here. And let's come in closer to Starkville proper so we can get a few other roads hopefully in here. I'm going to have to change our angle so that we can get where it is now and get these times more correct. Okay, so you can see MSU popping on the map now. Wish it popped on a little earlier. So you can see 25 on the south side of town there. We're within 4 to 5 minutes for the Mississippi State campus. We're now 6 to 7 minutes away, assuming still about that 40 to 45 miles per hour. Now, I might be a little fast at 45 miles per hour, but I'd rather be too fast than be too slow. Davis Wade Stadium area there, we're talking about 7 minutes. Let's just get the bypass there. And the Walmart on that side of town within the next 4 to 5 minutes for you. A rotation that has produced damage in the past and could potentially do the same in the near future. So safe place selfies, what we ask you to tag it with. Tornado safe place here. Appreciate Nick for sending us his shot from the Starkville area. So Nick, be safe, be careful. Let's get through the next little bit and see. For all the kids in Starkville, real men take severe weather seriously, and they want to protect themselves for their family's sake. So be safe, get to that safe place. Let's get through the next 15 minutes and move on with our life. Let's look at the, of course, as we mentioned, 10:15 that time, 10:45 the time that tornado warning is in effect until. Let's look at the wind mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. Much less clear than some of the other rotations we've seen today. Still have that one back there. It shows New Light Road and then approaching a Watt Hill Road. And of course, that's that split there between the bypass, between 25 there into town and around. Debris mode. Debris continuing to thin out. We're really hoping that this tornado has lifted at this point. There have been some indications it might have, but just because it has lifted doesn't mean it won't reform. These tornadoes haven't been on the ground. I think the longest we've had one on the ground in our area has been about 10 minutes, and it's been this storm. So I don't want to judge what it's capable of at this point. It's one of those things. Just because Just because you've never done something doesn't mean you can't do it. So they have gotten rid of the considerable tag on the describe the damage simply because it does look like it may have, at this point, lifted, and hopefully that continues to be the trend that we have with the debris kind of on the south side here. Still kind of lagging behind. I think because that debris there is lagging a little bit behind our heaviest precipitation. Still a few spots there we have rotation kind of on the front end. I want to get a wider shot here, make sure we don't miss something down here toward Oktibbeha, kind of there. Because if we look at wind there we go. It's trying to re-strengthen again. This is trying to produce another one. I think Tornado 1 is lifted, if I'm being 100% honest with you. I think Tornado 1 is lifted. I think we're looking at Tornado 2 about to form here. So we're south of Starkville where we're looking. It's going to be approaching Mdot Road, right there, near Bethel Road, West Line Road, southwest side of Starkville. This is going to be intensifying. You can see the green there. You watch it with me. You make your own decision on what you think about this. A lot more grays in that scan, a lot more greens in that one. What happens with the next scan? It might not pop all the way to where it produces a tornado. It might. So I would highly encourage you, though our initial debris is back here, this is where our new tornado is trying to form. A lot of times they form slightly ahead in what we call the RFD, the area trying to wrap back around. So I believe that this storm is about to produce, or it's about to try really hard to produce a tornado or produce one. Let's look at the debris mode, make sure there's nothing there yet. Nope, that's the old debris. This is our new signature there. So let's come in and let's give a few locations. We're going to use our arrow to get this right this time. Since we're at a spot here where we just need to list as many roads as we possibly can. So I have it near Palace Drive. Our next scan is going to be up here near Poorhouse Road. When we get that next scan in, it'll probably be right about here where our rotation is. We have to be in that tornado safe place on the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. Now, if we live in Starkville, especially the southeast side, we do expect, and radar's not perfect, so let's just, I mean, obviously the whole town, and there, right there, near Beef Unit Road. That is where this is about to touch down if it hasn't yet. Near Beef Unit Road on the south side. I mean, there's the MSU campus. There's Mdot Road there. How far from campus is this? And I want to tell you that this looked like it moved a little more north than it should have the last scan. We're now 3 to 4 minutes south of the main part of campus there. And I know campus stretches out well beyond that. This is, I believe, a tornado in the generation phase right here. Let's check to make sure we don't have it on the ground with debris. We don't at the moment here. So let's go back to the wind mode here. This is strengthening. As we said a moment ago, you make your own decision on this, on whether or not you think this is significant. I'm telling you it's moving almost directly north at this time. It's not to say that the direction won't change somewhat, but this is a tornado we believe may come through campus if it continues like it is. So here's our circulation. Here's West Line Road. We've mentioned a number of times. I'm going to get down in here and we're going to pull off the radar. And I'm sure you've used a map before, so and I'm going to pull off the warning fill in the background there so you can kind of see it. So this is tracking along South Farm Road. It looks like we have a pretty decent subdivision over here. Country Club Road, Banyan Road, Hollyhock Road, Canna Avenue, Montgomery Street, South Montgomery Street, Greenbrier Street, all in the path of this. Sherwood Drive, Nottingham Road, Lincoln Green Street, Wise Center Drive, Stone Boulevard, all in the path of this. Poultry Road, and clearly, as we've mentioned multiple times, South Farm Road. But this is going to track up and attempt to move toward the Mississippi State campus. So you have to be taking this extremely seriously. Right there, clearly, we've now been telling you for the last 2 scans that this was going to happen. 121-mile-per-hour winds on this. We expect that this is probably a tornado on the ground, or at least about to touch down on the south side of Starkville, right along West Line Road between that and East Line Road. South of Blackjack, south of 182 at this point, south of the Mississippi State campus, on a trajectory, on a route that will take it to the Mississippi State campus. Let's check the debris mode here. Yes, the very beginnings of it right there. Please, please, take this seriously. If you tweet me right now from your safe place, I'm going to put you on TV. How about that? I'll make you the deal. Like these folks here, everyone there, you can see in a concrete reinforced room. Some of them definitely trying to have as good a time as possible. The blankets, their pillows, they're all trying to stay wrapped up there. So we showed that one a moment ago. Another one where you have the kids in the bathtub. you know, just get to that tornado safe place. We've got to be there now. We believe this is a tornado on the ground. It's beginning to show those indications of tornado debris, and it will move into the Mississippi State campus on the line it's at now. It could vary. And for all those prayer warriors out there, here's what we need to ask for. We need to ask for, obviously, the weekend and maybe pull a little east, but certainly we want to be praying for those folks down there and making sure the kids know that this is a serious situation moving in. A potentially damaging tornado. We will know within the next 45 seconds without a shadow of a doubt whether or not this is producing damage. We believe we've seen the beginnings of one of those tornado debris signatures, and that is wrong what I just put on there because we believe it's probably north of that location now. So we're talking less than a minute to 2 minutes from the Mississippi State campus. What could potentially be a damaging tornado and a deadly situation. Right there, newest scan. I know we'll have new debris here. There it is. Tornado debris signature, tornado on the ground as anticipated, approaching Blackjack Road. If you live in Starkville, if you know somebody that lives in Starkville, give them a call. Let them know they've got to get to that tornado safe place. This could be a deadly situation. There's no question about this. This is a tornado on the ground. When this comes in like it is, with the strong winds, with everything we've seen today, please take this seriously. And with that in mind, we're going to pull this off for a second. We're going to give you the tornado safety rules, and I'm going to, while I'm showing you the tornado safety rules, I'm going to pull off the radar data and pull off everything, and you read those rules off the screen. I'm not going to read them to you at the moment, and instead I'm going to give locations in the path of this. So, as we mentioned a moment ago, this is a tornado likely along Stone Boulevard right now, near the Y Center Drive, which, my cat died last week, and I know this well because we took him to the vet school down there a number of times. We believe this is a tornado, significant tornado on the ground. John, I need you off the phone. I need you to check radar, and I need you to look at this tornado warning up here. I need to see if I need to be on it or if I need to stay on this for a second since I have this ripping through a town. So the tornado warning up north, please. So Y Center Drive, Blackjack, it's probably crossing at this time. Let's go to the wind mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar, which is a few moments behind. It's close to the vet school. It might stay just slightly east. That is obviously the hope. It's significantly less populated over here, but we expect it's going to take it here along Oktibbeha Road for Blackjack Oktibbeha Road. And there it is right there. So it's moved to where we expected. So now University Commons, what it did, it went north. Now it's gone east. This is a damaging tornado on the ground in the Starkville area. So there's East Blackjack, about to cross that within 15 to 20 seconds. The intersection where it will cross it is the intersection of Bardwell and Blackjack, if not Park Lane and Blackjack. Right in there is where it is. Looks like we have a subdivision right there. And Rocky Road, hopefully you're already there. We've got to look ahead of this a little farther. Munsfield Drive, Sterling Drive, you've got to be in that tornado safe place. A damaging tornado on the ground moving towards St. Andrews Lane. Oh, that's right. We have that big apartment complex out this direction. I'm trying to remember what's the name of it? Real quick. Not the mill. What is it? It's on the west side on the far east side of town. I can't think of it all of a sudden. I had a friend that's from there. What is it? Is it Clayton Village? Is that? I know it shows it on there, but anyway, that big apartment complex, Macaulay Drive there, St. Andrews Lane. I know I've driven by that complex and said, I hope the tornado never goes through there before. Lowest floor. You got to get down to the bottom. You got to get under some stairwells to protect yourself. This is a significant, damaging, and deadly situation if not taken seriously moving through. The wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar remains more than 95 mile per hour pixel-to-pixel wind change and likely a tornado on the ground at this time with this storm. I have to disengage from this for a second. I'm going to be right back. We've got to go north because we have another tornado warning up north that we haven't addressed near Pontotoc. This is our previously significant touchdown where we had multiple tornado touchdowns on this. Because this is, and let's get that cleared up, a more rural area and it's not in the middle of a town, I have to go someplace else and come back. But Nixon in 5 minutes, 17 minutes in the Blue Springs, the area there, a tornado that could potentially be very significant. This is on the east side of Pontotoc. The rotation likely staying just barely east of Pontotoc proper. Not by much. I mean, we're talking between 278 and you know, Main Street there. So, I mean, we're not talking very far east. Like, this is still technically, I think, city limits there on Pontotoc. So Horseshoe Bend there, I believe, is the road, moving toward Highway 6 in the direction that's going to take it near the Highway 9, Highway 278, Highway 6, you know, the new 278 there. Anyway, that intersection is where this is going, and it's no more than about 3 to 4 minutes away from that as it moves in a direction that could potentially clip Endville and locations around that. I have to go back to Oktibbeha County for a moment here because that storm is moving through, has caused damage, and is moving through a populated area at this moment. Clayton Village, we were tracking a moment ago. Some of those prayers, where I'm going to go with on this, had might have had power flashes from my vantage point near the Starkville area, reported a few minutes ago from a storm chaser. Our rotation has broadened from 100+ miles per hour to now broader. Here is hoping that that is a sign of weakening. Unfortunately, my tornado debris signature, because of the angle of the storm, it is lofted up there a little higher, but we show it right near that 182 interchange, where you kind of take that to go out toward the campus area. And then this is that apartment complex we were concerned about just a moment ago, there near McCaldy Drive. So hopefully folks taking shelter there. That was a significant tornado touchdown, and the Highlands, a minute late and $1 short. Thank you, Angie. Okay, the Highlands subdivision. Thank you. It sounds like it's here. Power blinking. Rebecca. So Rebecca was one of the people that we were covering, that we actually showed the safe place selfie a minute ago. I don't know, there's many times that I've shown someone safe place selfie and then they've been hit. So hopefully it wasn't too bad. We do have a lot of pictures, thankfully, coming in of kids that are hiding from this. We don't. Next thing I wanted to mention here, and I don't know what the next step is, whether or not this continues to produce a tornado. So I'm going to give a track on this forward, and I'm going to let you read the names off the track for a moment. I'm going to discuss one of the next issue with the kids for a moment here. If there was a tornado touchdown, there's absolutely no reason you should get out at this point. And because you don't want to be a mess, you cannot guarantee there's not power lines out there, you could get electrocuted. There's going to be plenty of time to clean up as that becomes something that people do over the next few days. But now is absolutely not the time. Let first responders get where they need to go and do what they need to do. Stay in your dorm room, stay in your apartment, unless it's been hit, obviously, and then, you know, just stay away. If you smell gas, that's a situation where obviously a gas line's been hit, and that's a dangerous situation. That's a situation where you need to get out. Otherwise, if the power's just out and you weren't hit, becomes a fun tell ghost stories kind of evening. But make sure to keep that cell phone, if you're watching us on the WTVA weather app, hopefully you've kept it charged, because there are more chances for active weather beyond this there. I'm going to look at the wind mode here, and we've got to come back north. Our storm has not moved. We'll wait for the next update there, because this update will get us here up here near Pontotoc as well. Our rotation, latest scan, not quite what it was 2 scans ago, when it was along 342 and 41 south and west of Pontotoc there. Let's go to the debris mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. I cannot confirm debris on this thunderstorm, on this tornado here. It's certainly one we're going to have to watch, and clearly it has been significant, and it has had previous tornado touchdowns. So I'm going to get a new track on this, and it's going to be a broader track than maybe usual, simply because I want to make sure that I don't, miss in case we've had these kind of bounce around and develop ahead. So there's some times you can see there toward the New Harmony community at about 1042, Reese there at 1045, Center community at 1049, and Union Hill at 1050. I do want to quickly go back here, and I want to include New Albany in that track just in case. And we're going 45, so this might be a little fast. But New Albany, it shows about 20 minutes there. Wallerville, 15 minutes. Ecru in 7 minutes. And Nixon community, or Nixon area there at about 2 minutes from now. Let's take a second. Let's reset. Meteorologist Matt Lomp on here alongside our meteorologist John DeLusick as we continue to track 2 tornado warnings, one in effect for Oktibbeha County, another for Pontotoc and Union counties. One that has confirmed a tornado touchdown within the last 10 minutes. The other one that we're still watching rotation and hoping to see see what we can find. Report coming from Mississippi State University of one of the students, one of the meteorology students down there that reported a tornado that could be seen just east of campus. No reports of damage to campus at this point. Of course, that information is early. That's a good early sign. Looking at the direction it took, that's reasonable, but we hope that that continues to be the information we get in there, because we do know we had a tornado. We do think it was damaging, and we do believe that it still could be attempting to reform. Let's look at the wind mode here. The rotation is broad. That happened earlier. Remember southwest of Starkville? Broadened out. Well, it's hard to pick out. And then you had this push. And that push then became the tornado that formed directly south of Starkville, moved into the southeast side of town. So we're hoping that this continues to be the trend. There's no guarantees that that is the case. Let's go ahead and widen it a little bit. Let's get a track here, and I'm going to keep West Point in our track on this one. West Point, the Whites community in the track of this, eventually moving toward the Strong area. And we have West Point in 10 minutes, Whites community in 15 minutes, and Strong community in 19 minutes. Ashley. John, do you have Ashley's number? Okay. I'm trying to think of our best option to call down there. Well, let's look through there, see if we can have it. Let's try to get on the phone and find out the latest there. This has weakened somewhat. I'm gonna look at the precip mode on this for just a moment here. We still clearly have our winds wrapping around there on that. Let's back it off. It's not quite what it was when it was earlier, but it's still in a zone here where, I mean, there's a lot of shear. There's a lot of changing winds in the atmosphere, so it seems absolutely possible that this could attempt to produce a tornado, or still work toward that end game. We should have a new scan coming in here in just a moment that should adjust this closer to Monroe Road. After we get that, we're going to track it. After we track it, we're going to go north briefly, and then we have to watch this as it comes into the West Point area one way or another. We're going to get the Mdot Cams in the West Point area up here in a second. And I didn't revisit this earlier. Were the cams down in Starkville, or was it just the one?
They were off for a while, but, well, no, they're still
okay, that's
not
fine.
showing up.
Let's get West Point up and ready to go on that, and let's make sure this is our latest scan. It is. So let's track this northeastward with a speed at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So now in the Midtown West Point there, we're within 8 minutes. Now this circulation is absolutely weaker than it was 10 minutes ago, and weaker than it was 15 minutes ago when it had a tornado on the ground. But could it re-strengthen? Absolutely. That's what happened south of Starkville. So we need to make sure, West Point, we haven't mentioned you to this point. We've watched other thunderstorms. We have not mentioned you. We need to make sure that you understand what we're looking at here. Number one, that we're dealing with rotation on radar that could develop into a tornado soon. We have previously had a tornado spotted within the last 10 minutes and confirmed debris within the last 10 minutes. I mean, we're checking a lot of boxes there. I believe it possibly has lifted. That does not mean it stays that way. It could, right there at that little nook you see right there, with those couple of pixels right there. That is right there where it will form, just south of the Monroe Road area, moving toward locations in Clay County, including the city of West Point. So I want West Point on your screen here. As we continue to watch this move toward the north and east, the speed continues to be at about 40 miles per hour. We need to be in a sturdy structure in the middle of that on the lowest floor. Find a small windowless room, wrap up in blankets and pillows, put it on a helmet to protect yourself from flying debris if that is something that happens. And that is something that happens when a tornado touches down. And stay there until we can give you the all clear. Looking at the debris mode here, we no longer have a tornado debris signature on here. That debris is settling out to a certain extent. A few specific roads, and we got to come up north. So I would say that it's right here crossing into Clay County as we speak. And so I would put it probably no more than the Walmart there on the southwest side of town, about 2 to 3 minutes away. And we'll say the intersection there of Highway 50 and 45, we're no more than probably 3 minutes away. The Mdot Cam's not working in the West Point area. Maybe that's a power issue. We'll have to see, but this is definitely a situation we want to take very seriously, with a tornado warning in effect until 11 p.m. Coming northward, we continue to have a tornado warning in effect for northern Pontotoc County. This storm has produced multiple tornadoes in the past, and we expect that it could potentially try to produce produce one in the future. The rotation has broadened a little bit just looking at this, but there are a couple of areas here of concerning, at the very least, straight line winds. It might be what that is there, but sometimes that rotation can get a little more organized as well. And then the rotation there just north of Natchez Trace Park, Trace State Park, and the Highway 9 area near the Sherman area and far eastern Pontotoc County where we're looking at there. So let's track that northward. Let's get some new times there on your screen. This is for the eastern circulation. We're looking at Blue Springs in 10 minutes, East Union in 14 minutes, Parks Community in 17 minutes, and Halltown in 22 minutes. And let's get the one near Ingomar and New Albany, just in case. And this shows New Albany within 8 minutes, 5 minutes, into Beacon Hill, North Haven within 10 minutes. Rotation on this increasing in intensity, and something we're going to have to pay very close attention to. Reports coming in from the Oktibbeha County Emergency Management Department. One tree reported down on Craig Springs Road, 1 mile from Highway 25. Debris on Blackjack, all reported by law enforcement in the area. So that is from our tornado that touched down in the Starkville area. Hold on, I'm going to go wide here for a second. That's a county south still. Okay, trying to keep up with what we have there. But a car also reported in the ditch on US 82. May have been some libs down in that area as well. So that would have been probably east of the Starkville proper, but that would have been near the Highlands subdivision there. So we're going to get more information out of Starkville here in a little bit, and that will continue to come in as we go throughout the next little bit here. But obviously, we continue to focus on where the tornadoes are now. West Point, it's pretty much over top of you at this instant, looking at the latest scans here. At least looking at the rainfall mode. Let's make sure it matches on the wind mode here. Luckily, this has become more difficult to pick out. Actually, my rotation I would put right there, right on the Clay Oktibbeha County line. So a good sign is my precipitation isn't perfectly aligned with where my rotation is. So that's a good sign. But this shows 5 minutes or less the midtown. Look where the dot is. 5 minutes or less there. So if you live on the southwest side of town, cut it in half. We're less than 2 minutes. So rotation is increasing. So we have to treat this very seriously. By the way, the tornado warning for Oktibbeha County is going to be allowed to expire here within the next few minutes when it expires at 10:45. It's going to be allowed to expire, so we always mention come out of those safe places. If you do live in Starkville, the kids, and it is safe to, you can come out of that safe place at this moment in time. The threat for this tornado has passed. Now, I do want to address for a moment here, and this is a general thing we need to talk about for a moment, where we at over the course of this event. The strong winds aloft, we've been talking about the secondary line there catching up. This is going to smash together, and this is going to make a weird situation as the winds kind of hit this. So we expect more tornado warnings to form over the course of the next hour and a half, 2 hours. I would say we're probably at the peak of this event within the last 30 minutes to now. Maybe the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to be really at the peak of this event. We'll have to see just how this interaction eventually moves in. There's lots of strong winds aloft, and that is helping to power these circulations near the surface. So that's why we're being very careful with these storms, and we need you to do the same thing. And we appreciate everyone for what you're helping to tell us and for really taking this seriously and going to that tornado safe place. Sirens going off in Pontotoc County, according to the folks out there. And I want to make sure we don't have any other information. Mostly safe place selfies at this moment, thankfully, what we're looking at here. Luckily, no damage pictures, but obviously we've heard reports of damage, and we expect to get more in. So what about this storm here? And let's look at the wind mode here to kind of dissect where we are with this. There's a couple areas, and that's just not the right spot, not the spot I'd expected near the Wallerville area there. But luckily, we're at a point now where we can actually check Memphis and get some pretty good, well, okay, we're just kind of on the fringe of that. I thought we'd have a little better data than that out of Memphis. So Wallerville do have some rotation there with that. I'm going to track this, and this is kind of the east side there in New Albany. So I would put it in the east side there in New Albany. We'll say 4 minutes is reasonable. Baker in 5 minutes, Pleasant Hill there in 8 minutes, in the Concord community in 10 minutes. Rotation, kind of the wrong position. So the area, and I want to see if this matches the rainfall. We're doing a lot of guessing here again. Guessing is clearly good. You saw when we weren't guessing a few minutes ago, and that was clearly bad. So guessing is good because that means we're not confirming something. So right here, I would say near Center Hill Road, County Road 25, can't read it, 205. Right there is where I put my primary rotation at this moment. It still remains relatively broad, but let's track it nonetheless. North and eastward, New Harmony there in 3 minutes, Reese in 6 minutes, Parks Community in 13 minutes, and Halltown in 18 minutes. Rotation that could potentially attempt to spin up and produce a tornado. At this point, we're going to have to take a close look here at it the next few minutes and see if that potential changes. But we need to be in our tornado safe place for either one of these circulations at this point. We'll check the debris mode here, and no tornado debris being detected on this, so we're luckily still at the maybe, possibly, hopefully not stage in this with our circulation, but certainly we're going to have to be very cautious with this going forward. Circulation also pretty much, hold on, I want to go wide for just a second, make sure I'm not missing something. Let's let this loop a couple of times. We had the western Clay County there. That's not good anymore. Clearly that one. And no question the Starkville. I want to make sure there's not something else south there of Clay County as well. We'll keep it wide enough we can see this, and we got to go West Point. Still fairly broad, so let's go up here to West Point. And this, I mean, this is also relatively broad. We don't have that pixel-to-pixel change. A lot of that has to do with the angle that we're looking at this now, because the folks down there in Jackson are looking at different stuff as Memphis, and we're all looking at different stuff. And so sometimes the angle on the radar site doesn't show up as cleanly. This, looking at just the regular velocity on this, not typically the one that I can check and see, I'm really, that one scan there, 1036, trying hard to produce a tornado again. I think it has broadened somewhat. That just means it's widened out somewhat, but still near Old Whites Road is where this is tracking, and we're watching this kind of on the west side there of West Point as this continues to try to move through. Our Mdot cams there are down. Hopefully folks have power. If you know folks in West Point, we need to keep them in that tornado safe place as this tornado warning does continue. Let's check in here. I'm going to go back to the typical one. I know it's all reds here, and that kind of implies something that, believe it or not, isn't true. That it's kind of all the same direction, but it's not. There's still some fairly significant rotation going on here. It's just the angle of the radar is coming in a weird angle at this moment. So the rotation, definitely very close to West Point. It looks like they're trying to adjust the colors on this, and hopefully we'll get more information on that in a second. But at this point, still radar indicated. Our discussion with the National Weather Service out of the Jackson area, thankfully on this, hopefully we get more information on that is good. But at this point, we cannot confirm a tornado touchdown on this, and hopefully that continues to be the case. Let's go and track this northeastward with a speed at about 40, 45 miles per hour. We're going to include some folks that haven't seen the names yet, like Derrickett. We're looking at about 15 minutes there. Aberdeen in 22 minutes. Rotation that could lead to the development of a tornado for some of those spots there. By the way, Brittany, do we have anybody down there we can FaceTime? If you can find one of your folks down there we can FaceTime, we'll bring it up and we'll put that on Apple TV, and we'll have a little discussion with them. Okay, good deal. And we're ready to go when that happens here in a few minutes if we can do that. So West Point, clearly, and some of those other spots, we're watching that for you. Let's come north here. There's a couple of areas up here, and we're looking a little higher up than we are with the West Point storm, so it's not quite as clear cut. Obviously, the green and red is still fairly clear cut. This is now north of 348, approaching Highway 30. There's Baker, up there's Cowanville, and it's kind of moving in the direction there of Cowanville. This is fairly rolling terrain up here, kind of a really pretty road to drive. But obviously, a lot of pretty roads around here have a lot of trees, and so that's why we don't want you out there driving, is because those trees can become missiles if this all of a sudden becomes a tornado that touches down. And it is strengthening. So I want to be clear that this is getting stronger than it was a few minutes ago. And so it's over top of Union Hill, Baker community, Baker area there in 1 minute, Cowanville in 9 minutes, the Molino area in 9 minutes. So 6 minutes in Cownville, 9 minutes into Molino. Our meteorologist John DeLusick, more information as we continue to track damage and all the sort. What you got, John?
Shane with North Mississippi Storm Spotters and Chasers reports in Starkville, Blackjack Road, southeast of Starkville, some debris and also cars in the ditch off of US 82.
Does he have FaceTime? Here, Taylor?
I do not know.
Do you know that sticky note? Get John and them that sticky note if you would, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
We'll try to get in touch with them on FaceTime,
okay.
and Taylor will tell you how. Okay, so we'll try to get that up here in a few minutes. So we can get some more information back on that. We do have folks trying to get us information there. We all, of course, want to make sure people stay out as long, stay away from this as long as possible, so we can give folks time to get things put back together there. So just be safe and be considerate of others that have experienced damage. And you hate hearing about the cars in the ditch. It's the most vulnerable place, and yet that's where we found some folks. So our prayers with them, of course. Let's do some all clears here for a moment. First off. Pontotoc County, you're in the all-clear zone on this. Yeah, go. Here, hold on. You have to. There we go. Pontotoc County, you're in the all-clear with this. There are other thunderstorms out there. I don't show any significant rotation on those, not like what you've had, but you're in pretty good shape. Had someone asking about Webster County a moment ago on social media. Looking at our last batch here, there's still some rotation on that as well that we're going to have to watch. But when we go just straight over here to the wind mode, which has been a little more clear on some of this, let's make sure that we feel the same way. Bunch of different little circulations. Okay, that's a clear slot. Clearly our New Albany circulation, and the one down for West Point. So let's come to West Point. Let's touch that, and we'll go back to New Albany. This has gone through a bit of a strengthening phase here. Once again, kind of on the west side of New Albany where this is. Rotation that is capable of producing a tornado. Looking at the debris mode here, I don't believe I have debris on this. But let's look in here a little closer. And let's double check this. Let's look at the precip mode, the rainfall mode. Okay. Let's look at the wind mode. Okay. And now let's go back to the debris mode there. No, that must be a cell phone tower or something. Okay, that's what it is. When it sits there and doesn't move, that means it's clearly the radar is hitting something that messes it up consistently. So that is not tornado debris there. Good. I've had enough of that for the night. So let's look here at the wind mode. Still a couple areas where this rotation is continuing to strengthen along the leading edge of this. I'm gonna check it from a couple other sites as well, just to make sure we have kind of the best look at it. None of those are coming in super duper strong, so I'm just going to go to the other wind mode here that does a better job of showing it on the northwest side near Lone Oak Road, where there's still definitely some rotation on this thunderstorm. Moving more northward now. We were tracking it just a moment ago more northeast, and while it still has an easterly component, hold on. We've seen a split here. This might be the RFD, the strong straight line winds that kind of shoved it more this direction, but there is where our rotation is now. So this has gone almost more north. So we've just had so many odd movements on these storms today. The National Weather Service is going to go ahead on the Monroe County side and issue a severe thunderstorm warning with the tag tornado possible. And that's the cue behind the scenes here to us and to folks that read that. That the tornado risk is there, even though they're going with a severe thunderstorm warning ahead of this into Monroe County. Mulder in 10 minutes, Prairie 16 minutes, and Gibson in 20 minutes. Rotation that has in the past produced a tornado in Oktibbeha County, and we have had no reports of that in West Point or in Clay County to this point, but it remains possible that that could happen in the future. So we have to take this seriously nonetheless as it continues to move northward. I want to get Aberdeen in the shot here. I know we have a lot of viewers in the Aberdeen area. And the track of this, I believe that at least at this moment is going to stay a little north, or excuse me, a little west of Aberdeen, but the movement's been so flip-floppy on this that I'm going to include you in the track anyway. 21 minutes in the Aberdeen, Amory in 36 minutes, Nettleton in 43 minutes for you in the Whites community in 5 minutes as we continue to track a strong thunderstorm producing rotation that has previously produced tornado touchdowns. That's enough for me that if I were in this situation, I would be taking my tornado safe place and getting that safe place, and I highly recommend that you do the same thing. Let's come out to our Union County storm, and by the way, as we're doing that, let's give some credit to some safe place selfies. This coming from Brent, sending that one in there. Another safe place selfie. There's a helmet there. Linda Stokes in her safe place. A helmet right here. Another one I think from the Starkville area. I always say bicycle helmets. I never say motorcycle helmets. I probably should. That's a good idea. Motorcycle helmet there, what we'd want to be. So I appreciate that one for coming in. Elizabeth sending that. Brandy, another safe place selfie. Apparently I had an interesting look on my face there. And then, yep, the kids on the iPad and safe place in Algoma. Appreciate that. They can come out in the Algoma area from that safe place, as many other folks there on some of those thunderstorms can. But we are certainly still continuing to strongly watch and consider what's going on in Union County as well. This has weakened a little bit, luckily, in the last couple of scans here. So let's check from the Memphis radar. We kind of have to poke and prod it a couple different ways. Still have that rotation there near Pleasant Hill to the west of Cownville and Molino, moving toward the Bluff community, and eventually that will take it probably slightly east of Ripley. Storm track on this thunderstorm there. You can see some of the times on your screen as I try to multitask for a moment here and make sure that I don't have some other damage information coming in. A lot of safe place selfies, and appreciate all those. But this storm that we're looking at right here could conceivably still try to, at some point in the near future, produce a tornado. So that's why we're definitely monitoring it and asking you to do the same thing. Let's reset for a moment here as we, at least for a second, believe we're kind of in the gap between tornado potential. That's not to say that we don't see more, but let's talk about what we do have. I don't see, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, John, much severe weather potential beyond the back edge of this line here. Is there anything to convince me otherwise that you see? Oh, your microphone went dead? Okay. Well, we'll have to go. If you change the battery back there, that might help. And I'm surprised mine is still. And you might get me a battery too, because if his went dead, mine can't be far off. I'm going to start south, and we'll work our way north for a moment, just to make sure that these aren't going to try to do something. So the wind mode down here, lots of little nooks. I don't see anything that's super strong, even though we have some green and red and that whole thing. What I'm looking for is what you have farther north up here, where it's the green and the red, and like you saw when it was in Starkville, where it's just swirling up. That was potentially a strong tornado there with the height at which some of that debris was lofted up. And then we continue to have our obvious rotation here in near the West Point area in Clay County, now north of Highway 50. Continue to move toward the north and east. It's been most obvious on this one here. You can still see some of those different interactions. Oh yeah, my battery wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. Check, check. There we are. Okay. Go ahead, and if you'll run this back there. Go ahead. Okay. Who do we have here?
We have Alex Forbes. Well, will he answer? Yes.
Okay. We'll get that up. When we get it up, tell it to go to Apple TV, and we'll bring it up.
Calling about New Albany and Union County.
New Albany proper is clear. Union County, if tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire at the end of its run here in the next few minutes. So that the tornado threat for Union County in any imminent fashion has passed. We are past that. John, we'll go ahead and mute John's microphone if we could, please, while he continues to get that figured out. And then we'll mute and unmute. We'll bring it back here in a minute. Multiple trees reported down. Okay, that's south of Mathiston and Choctaw County. No details on the exact location. So that was that confirmation, that Choctaw County report that we expected a little earlier. And now we find ourselves in a situation where we've unfortunately been able to confirm that in a couple other places. Can you connect that to the Apple TV?
Connected to the Apple TV?
Maybe in the BYY.
That's probably the BYY one that we were waiting to get those reports.
We didn't have Matheson, we had BYY.
Okay, hold on. Merging, we're watching. Okay. National Weather Service on the same page as us kind of on this, where we're looking at these and we're still kind of searching and trying to figure out whether or not these are going to, how much these are going to get more reorganized and how these are going to reorganize. So the overall headline is up into sections of Monroe County. We expect that this will continue to head northward and could potentially try to produce more in the way of maybe brief spin-ups at the very least ahead. Now, as you mentioned, we had, we're connected here.
Yep, we're connected.
Okay. Alex Forbes, how are you? Okay, I can't hear you, so let me see if I can hear it. And I don't think it's you, Alex. Give me a minute here while I'm. Let's see if it says it's connected to Apple TV, but it is. Yeah, Max wants to turn. I'm gonna try this again, and then I'm gonna give her my phone, and we're gonna try it that way. Okay. We're gonna call you from my phone and FaceTime you that way, and we'll bring you up that way. Okay. Take my phone, call the phone number, or FaceTime them that way. We'll bring it up that way. Say again. Pontotoc, just to the southeast of Pontotoc. Let's look at that one. Thank you. Hold on. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's go wind mode. Yes, you're right. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, John. Okay, this one is our next one that's trying to spin up here near the Chippewa area. I mean, this is really along 342. This is south of 278. Oh, yeah, use my face. Sorry. Come on. Oh, no. You know how sometimes it doesn't want to do it after it's seen a face a couple of times? Oh, you're kidding me. You're going to make me put in my passcode.
Technology.
Apple convinced me to do a long passcode for security reasons. Good gosh. Okay. Security. Okay. So let's get the track of this near Trace State Park in the Enville area, moving north and eastward. So 4 minutes into Trace State Park, Longview area, 6 minutes, Enville in 10 minutes. This is rotation that is increasing. I don't think it's producing a tornado at this point, but there hasn't been a ton of long lead time from time to time on some of these thunderstorms, so it remains possible that that could happen at some point in the future. Let's take our Tupelo tower cam here, and I'm going to swing this around as the lightning does continue to increase on this thunderstorm. I'm going to kick this over to our clear air mode in case that's something we need to see. What I do need, John, is I need you on to have this up in case we need to be looking out of this to have that up. And let's go ahead and let's open up John's microphone so we can hear him. And John, go ahead.
Okay, we do have from the emergency management in Oktibbeha County reports of down power lines, down poles, power poles, also down trees and windows blown out. The apartment complex we're not sure yet on, but there were some blown out windows at an apartment complex in Starkville in the Oktibbeha County area. So that's the latest we have from the folks in the Oktibbeha County area, the emergency management folks.
Okay, so blown out windows in the apartment complex, and I missed the first half.
Down poles, power poles, down trees, and again blown out windows.
Okay, well that's no reports of injuries.
None yet that we have.
God, that would be fantastic. I am concerned though. We had cars in the ditch, and hopefully, luckily it was weakening somewhat by that point, but hopefully that remains the case. Okay, I'm going to get you. Give me a moment here. I'm going to see if you are on. Nope, you're not on FaceTime, so I'm going to get you on FaceTime with me. So give me just a moment here to get. What's the name one more time?
Alex Forbes.
Alex Forbes. Okay, meteorology student, Mississippi State. Give me a moment here, and we'll get you to where we have you on the air with us. Please go sideways phone. Oh, man. Technology, I'm telling you. Okay, so it's going to take me a moment here to get this up, so give me just a second. We should be able to take... We're going to have to see if we rotate it. Sorry, give me just a second. No, that's just what this does. Give me just a second. FaceTime. Okay, this one should rotate, right? Oh, for Uncle. Okay, I'm going to go vertical with it. So we're just going to do that. There we are. Okay. So, Alex, can you hear me now? Okay, I can't hear you still. And you have the audio on back there, right? Now, do you have it on back there in the back room? Okay, we're gonna do this from audio. I'm gonna find out what you had through audio, and we're just gonna call that good. So give me just a second here. I'm gonna hear you in just a second as we bring that up. Okay, Alex, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, this is Alex Forbes. I'm down in Mississippi State. I appreciate you taking time to talk with us. Any damage where you at? First off.
No, so I'm at Hillman Hall. We're on the north side of campus, and we don't have damage and still have power.
Okay, so that's usually a pretty good sign when that's the case. That you still have power. What did you see? What happened?
So I did not take my own advice and looked outside right as the circulation.
Well, you're a meteorologist. You're smart enough, right?
Yes. And we saw very heavy winds whipping. I didn't see any turning. So that's honestly not to be expected with it being south of us, but still a very severe storm moving through campus. I did see that the dean of students did tweet that there appears to be no damage on campus. Everything that has occurred has been east of campus, Blackjack Road and the apartment complexes down there. And the report of a tornado crossing at Stone Boulevard have happened, but there was no damage to corroborate.
Okay, so what the last location, I think it kind of it fizzled out when you said the last place there was no damage, but it crossed what boulevard?
So this would have been moved over the apartment, Stone Boulevard, on the outside of campus,
okay,
where the horse park and vet school is.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Good. So no damage there. Okay. So I mean, and any reports of injuries, things along those lines you've heard of?
Not that I heard of. I do know there was one instance where it could have happened. The Cotton District, some of the businesses there did force people out of the restaurants outside during this event.
Wait, hold on. So they forced them to go outside?
Yes, they kicked them out of the restaurants, and they were forced to take shelter under covered parking under close to the Bend and on District's line. They're covered parking across the street there.
And so what's a kid going to do when they're forced outside? They're going to either go home or go someplace else and get in their car.
Yes.
Well, at least the business isn't liable, right?
Yes, right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anything you want to add? The mood of the community at this point from people you've talked to? Are people scared? Are people concerned? Are people staying in?
Yes. So everyone I know is still inside somewhere. People were scared. For a lot of students, they have not experienced a tornado event on campus yet because it has not happened here. The last warning was over spring break, and there were very few people here. But for a lot of people, it was their first time, especially in a fairly populated place like a dorm where they have to go to the level and there's uncertainty about the structure of the building or how safe they actually are. People were scared, but it does seem like the mood has gotten better on campus, at least a little bit, but it really won't improve until the rain stops.
Okay, absolutely. Anything you want to add, any piece of information we need to know that we're not asking?
Yes, so Blackjack Road runs along the south side of campus. Looks like it's impassable right now. So anybody who is at Aspen Heights would have to go jog north up to 182 and then across to get to this side of campus. Same goes the other way. If you are looking to get from campus to Aspen Heights, you're not going to be able to go down Black Road. You're going to have to go north, and then for the name of the road that you have to go down is escaping me right now, but it's over by the retreat and then south from there.
Okay. So I mean, and I'm assuming that it's blocked off about the area we saw the TDS, right? I mean, I'm assuming that's about the right location. I want to make sure that it wasn't significantly skewed because of whatever reason.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a picture that I did retweet one on Twitter. There's another meteorology student here who tweeted a picture. He's down on Blackjack.
Okay. Would you tag me in that, or tag one of us in that? And okay, thanks. I appreciate it. And we'll pull it up from there. Okay. I appreciate that, Alex, for your time. Be safe, stay in, and hopefully we're done for tonight. And thank you so much. Take care. Okay. That was a meteorology student from down in Mississippi State. Obviously, they're very attuned to what happens there, not always taking the right advice, but luckily it turning out okay. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your report, and glad to hear that people are safe. Discouraged to hear that businesses were kicking kids out. But that's okay. That'll be a story for next week.
Oh, yeah.
Don't kick the kid. Whatever. Anyway, moving on. So where are we at now? John has a report. Okay, so let's get the latest report here from meteorologist John DeLucic. John, what you got?
All right, one of our Twitter viewers, Stephen Holman from on Twitter, reports at least one house has damage in Starkville. At least one house in the Hillbrook subdivision. Trees are down on their houses, on these houses in that area, and rain is leaking into some of those houses. So at least in the Hillbrook subdivision of Starkville, we are getting now reports of some damage also.
Okay, so the Hillbrook.
Hillbrook, yes.
Okay. Have we reported that to the National Weather Service?
Not yet.
Okay, we'll get that in the chat, the National Weather Service there. Some other damage coming in from in and around the Starkville area. Christopher, this is that picture that we were talking to Alex a moment ago that he was talking about there of some of the damage in the Starkville area. This is a tree that was blocking right next to Aspen Heights near the Mississippi State campus. So that tells you how close this got. There are likely some power outages in there. Clearly there was no power where they were, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was the most heavily populated area. Trees blocking Bardwell and Blackjack Road, a light pole blown over on the Highlands, in the Highlands Plantation. Boy, if that light pole's all they had in that subdivision, that was the one I could not remember the name to earlier. Saw some sheet metal down in a few spots in Starkville, lots of localized flooding as well. Storm report there coming in from the Starkville area. The good news is for folks there, the most significant of these lines is through the threat. It's not impossible something happens back here, but that threat is continuing to diminish significantly, so hopefully that continues to be the case. Let's come up here to Monroe County, Hamilton. That is a fairly pronounced rainfall return there. I'm not sure if the wind is going to back up what we're seeing on the rain mode there. Yes, it is. Right there, this is about to produce a tornado again. South of Hamilton, east of US 45. Just in the last scan here coming in, that's about to do it again. Okay, so this is Grub Springs Road. Wow, this is just ratcheted up in the last moment here. Let's look at this. Yeah, absolutely. That's about to produce a tornado, and this is actually moving in a direction that'll probably take it to encompass Hamilton. Hamilton, we've got to be in a tornado safe place now. This is a situation where we could have a tornado forming. This is the same thunderstorm that produced the tornado in Starkville that we were showing you that picture just a moment ago, and we expect that it could potentially try to produce another tornado within the next couple of moments. It is wrapping up rapidly as we speak. Let's go to the debris mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. We don't show it yet, but south of Hamilton, on the Mississippi side, we have to be in that tornado safe place. Let's define what we have here. And for the moment, this is radar indicated rotation, very near the Hamilton area. I know this is a lot of open farmland in a lot of sections here, but you have enough homes in this community. We got to be safe. Rotation has developed. Tornado could be coming imminently. Tornado has not been spotted and debris has not been confirmed. Both those things happen after the fact. And considering the history with this storm, that debris signature is coming if it takes the next step. So we need to be in the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. So a small windowless room is where we need to be on the middle of that structure. As we mentioned, wrap up in blankets and pillows, put on a helmet as necessary, stay put and protect yourself from flying debris and stay there until we can give you the all clear if you live in the Hamilton area of Mississippi. Let's go to the wind mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. That is trying very hard. It's going to be another few moments before we get another scan in here, but that is a significant rotation area. We're talking now probably right there on Holloway Road. I show it south and east of, that stoplight that you have to stop for. Excuse me, right there. There's the stoplight, almost directly south of the stoplight in Hamilton. That is a tornado again. We have a tornado on the ground just east of Hamilton, along Hamilton Road on 45 in Monroe County. It's going to track along Cockerham Road, move towards Center Hill Road. This is for sure a tornado. We have not had the debris confirmed. We're going to have, there it is right there. So that tornado has touched down. So a tornado on the ground in Monroe County, crossing Hamilton Road as we speak. I'm not going to get a whole ton of places on the storm track of this ahead. That is absolutely really wrapped up in a hurry. I mean, you saw a second ago we're going into damage mode, and then this is just boom, gone. We've had some of these folks in tracks earlier But this one, hopefully people are in that safe place. So let's get the arrow and let's find out. So to Center Hill Road, we're talking no more than 1 minute. That'd be Center Hill Road near the intersection of McDuffie Cemetery Road. We're talking maybe 4 to 5 minutes on Lackey Road at longest, likely to pass a little east of Lackey. There's my angle. I won't want to guarantee that angle yet because that's going more north than that. Scratch that. Let's go up here and let's go more toward Lackey Road and we'll find out that intersection here in a second. This is going to be fairly close to the Lackey area. So here's that McDuffie Cemetery Road. I don't want to say this implies specific, but yeah, no, we have debris signature on it. Yes. So McDuffie Cemetery Road on just this one. There's not another one. There's just the one Monroe County, right? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. So this is the zone where this is going. It is on the ground, though, at this moment. It is producing debris, and it is likely a strong tornado. That's how fast this happens. Likely a strong tornado on the ground. Our debris signature. Whoa. Hey, Alan, look at the screen.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
I need you to find out on Analyst how high that is. See how high it goes. That is a bad one. Man. That is a tornado debris signature from a strong tornado on the ground in Monroe County, north and east of Hamilton, tracking along McDuffie Cemetery Road. Let's pull off the radar data for a moment. Let's circle this and let's talk brass tacks. We've got to be in our tornado safe place. This is likely a strong tornado at this moment. I'm going to adjust it northward because that's at least a few moments old. And let's pull off the radar data. And let's see if we can find something to point to. Here, luckily this is fairly rural. This is relatively rural out there. Markham Drive, Lackey Road near Markham Drive, and possibly Pace Road and Old Hamilton Road. Those locations are in the path of this Thompson Drive ahead of this. That's the direction this is going. This is likely not just a tornado, but likely a strong tornado on the ground as we speak. How high did you say?
Over 3,000 feet.
So over 3,000 feet. Okay. We'll have to wait to see how, unfortunately, high it gets thrown up. But this is a strong tornado on the ground right now. Someone was asking about tornado sirens in Fulton. This tornado warning does go up and include locations in Itawamba County. This is east, and this is going to clip. We'll talk about Smithville in a second here, but this is going to clip locations in eastern there, Monroe County. So Hatley in 20 minutes, Wise Gap there, we're near our radar site in 14 minutes, Cardsville 37 minutes, and Bexar there in 45 minutes. I don't have this necessarily getting all the way to Fulton. It'll probably stay a little east. And yes, Smithville, you're on the west side of this track, and I know how sensitive y'all are. Let's go to that tornado safe place, and let's hope this one dissipates before it gets there. Not just for your sake, but as you know more than anybody, for everyone else's sake as well. The Athens community, close enough to this path, we need to be in a tornado safe place with this. We still have a fairly large tornado debris signature on the ground here near Center Hill Road. Let's look at the wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. A strong, large, and possibly violent tornado on the ground north of Center Hill Road, south of Lackey Road. There's Lackey. I know a lot of folks live near Lackey. This is going to be east of Lackey, and this is tracking along McDuffie Cemetery Road is where this is going to go. Let's go farther north. We'll widen it slowly as we go farther north. And make sure this is tracking along the Old Hamilton Road if it holds together. There's going to be some erratic movement. They have done this multiple times tonight where they go north and we can go this way. So there's going to be some wobbles in this. So folks in Monroe County need our prayers, obviously, at this time as we continue to watch this damaging tornado, likely still on the ground and doing damage at this moment. Unsafe places because, oh, wow. So when we see a return like this and everything else we've seen, that's a significant debris signature there. Now, no guarantees the tornado is that large, but that means I have a debris signature going on that's more than a mile wide at this point. And I mean, so with that in mind as your backdrop, cars, trucks, mobile homes, large open rooms, upper floors, and rooms with windows. We got to stay away from all of those, and we have to be in a tornado safe place. There is no question. Call people, let them know this is a damaging and deadly tornado if not treated seriously. I don't say it in my school visits, but I do say it in my adult visits. I sometimes talk about the tree missiles, and considering the trees and what this has, that's how, being thrown against your mobile home, being hit against your car. You can't be in a car or mobile home or you will die from this tornado. Sturdy structure. We need to be in the middle of the lowest floor, a small windowless room, wrap up in blankets and pillows, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. There is no question this is a extremely dangerous tornado on the ground, doing significant, if not considerable, damage at this moment in Monroe County. Latest wind mode and storm track Doppler radar, as strong as I can give you. I mean, this is just incredibly strong. Now just east of McDuffie Cemetery Road. This is one of those wobbles. It's gone a little more northeast now, this scan. I'm hoping that's a sign that it decreases a little bit, but just extremely significant. That is, I'll just give me a second here to make sure we're not missing something else. I'm going to give you a quick track here, and we got to go back south because that's just ridiculous. Here at Sherman, there's some rotation there. It's not terrible. Over Sherman, East Union 8 minutes, Graves 10 minutes, Halltown 16 minutes. And then another one near the Zion area there. There's going to be a lot of other folks who start paying attention here in a second on this. First Community 3 minutes, ICC Belden in 12 minutes, Sherman in 15 minutes, and this rotation going toward west to Saltillo there in about 19 minutes. So 19 minutes in the west Saltillo. We'll be revisiting this one as it goes closer. But we have, I mean, incredible is just the only word I can describe, other than just sad, the look of what this looks like on radar. I mean, this is a very broad and strong circulation that on the wind mode, and when you cut it down to the precipitation mode, just a violent debris signature here depicted on storm track Doppler radar. I mean, it has a little misplaced for whatever reason when you look at the little icon there, but this is just very significant debris on this thunderstorm. How high is it now? How high is the highest you've been able to see it? Let's go back and let's figure that out. This is just for folks in Itawamba County, this is you are under this tornado warning. It does include you, so up here in Smithville as well, the Wise Gap community. If you live east of Lackey, this is a deadly situation if not respected. So please, please, please take it seriously. Significant debris has been lofted up from this. It's 9,000 feet, 9,000 plus. Is that the latest on the latest scan, or can you go back and find it in a couple scans earlier? Check back and see out of any of the scans the highest you can get it. But at least 10,000, 9,000 feet, almost 10,000 feet. And this is an early science to put it here. But just for that perspective, you know, the lofting we talk about of debris, some research studies have said possibly up that EF2 strength when it gets up close to 10,000 feet on the lofting of that debris. That's a strong tornado, and in this case, that's a deadly tornado if not respected. So tornado debris detected now near Old Hamilton Road, south of Highway 8. This had slowed down for a few scans there. When it really wrapped up, it slowed down. I feel like this has picked up a little of speed in the last few minutes here. Looking at the wind mode and storm track Doppler radar, I do think it's broadened just a little bit. Here is hoping that this is weakening a little bit, but I don't want to get caught off guard by the fact it's approaching our radar site, and sometimes that changes the colors and makes it look a little different. Man, that was a bad one. Still potentially a tornado, potentially even a strong tornado on the ground at this moment in Monroe County, and one that could be deadly if not respected. If you watch us do this coverage, you know how scary that signature is and was. Looking at the debris mode, new scan there, still debris going to be crossing Highway 8 within the next minute and a half to 2 minutes, where we have it now. Yeah, it shows 2 minutes. This is heading in direction near the Athens and Quincy area, more toward Quincy than Athens at this moment. Let's just widen it out and make sure we got that right. Actually, it's charged a little more north. Let's look at Hold on. Let's make sure. Let's go to the precipitation mode on this real quick. Still clear-cut debris signature there. And then I'm trying to see what this is charging ahead. That's less.
170 on storm motion, so slightly west of your
Yes, I agree. Quick question. Any higher than 9,000 feet, or is that the highest?
I've seen about 8,000.
8,000. Okay, still up 9 to 8,000 feet for how high that debris is. Still significant tornado potential out of this. Let's look at the latest scan here. Our tornado may be dissipating, and hopefully has at this point as it approaches Highway 8. Obviously, Storm Track Doppler still seeing tornado debris on this. These storms go through a cycle. We call the cycle, as weather nerds, it's a life cycle. And the life cycle is, as no tornado, RFD comes around, the winds, this curves around, cups up, produces a tornado, and then cuts it off, and then produces another one. It's in the process of cutting this off. I'm not willing to bet at this point that the tornado has fully lifted, considering how strong it has been. And so if you live in the Athens area, this is moving toward you. I know that big scary icon there, I think it's a little off on its position, but it tells the story right, that this is the direction it's heading, more toward Athens-Quincy Road. But this is where the new one will form. When it forms, is out here on the front edge as that comes around. That's the part of the life cycle that we're at on this. And obviously we're right there next to the radar site. Let's hope this doesn't knock down the radar site while we're at it. That has happened before, where you get these RFD winds as it's trying to form, to kind of curl around this and shove its way in. So that remains a possibility on this. New tornado warning going to be coming out for locations in Oktibbeha County near the Sugarlock area. Not as evident here because we're farther away from the radar site, so let's look at it a couple of different ways. It's a broader rotation, but considering what we've had a couple of times, what could be going on at the surface could still be very significant. So Sugarlock, need to be in that tornado safe place. Tornado warning coming out for you in the next couple of moments. There it is, in effect until 11:45 p.m. With damaging straight line winds at least, and the possibility of a tornado. This does include Macon, and obviously Sugarlock. It is over you right now. So less than 2 minutes if you live near Sugarlock. That is the main intersection of Sugarlock. You need to be in a tornado safe place. This is a strong thunderstorm. This is a strengthening thunderstorm with rotation. Now, at this point, as we've talked about over and over again, we're in that scenario where we're in the maybes and possiblies, and hopefully it stays that way, but no guarantee. So we need to be defining what we're dealing with. This is rotation that is strengthening and could develop a tornado soon. How fast is soon? If you've been watching us for 20 minutes, it can go from we're talking to somebody on the phone to that looks like it's strengthening to major tornado on the ground in like 2 minutes. So how long is soon? Not much that I would play with. Let's get to the lowest floor of that sturdy structure. At this point, we cannot confirm a tornado touchdown, but that happens after the fact. So it's only maybe is that, and then it is. So sturdy structure, middle of the lowest floor, find a small windowless room, wrap up in blankets and pillows, put on a helmet to protect yourself from debris, and stay there until we can give you the all clear, and that is clearly not now. Also included in this tornado warning here, as we clear this off, locations up around Macon. So I want to make sure we get Macon in that track, and we did not have them in that track just a moment ago if you live in Macon. I'll put this over top of Sugarlock now. I know we have some very dedicated viewers down there in Oktibbeha County. Mrs. Swan, do your thing. Macon, 10 minutes there. X Prairie in 16 minutes. Deerbrook in 23 minutes. Rotation moving north and eastward that could produce a tornado, and with the quickness that these have happened, we've got to be very careful. Give me a moment here. There's another storm down south that's producing tornado debris signature, and that is headed towards Scuba. So let's track that towards Scuba. That's outside the viewing area, but we have a lot of folks who end up going to Scuba. 16 minutes there, eventually Millington in 22 minutes, Geiger in 26 minutes, and Cooksville in 33 minutes. We will get back to that as that encroaches on the viewing area a little closer. Still tornado, possibly two in Monroe County here. And is that our new developed tornado? No, that is the sustained tornado, likely still producing damage along Highway 8, moving toward Quincy. And it will be into the Quincy area within 6 minutes.
All right, so Monroe County, Hamilton Road, the coroner called. He has damage done to his own home. He said there are trees down, poles down, power down. He said that he just heard a call, an emergency call called in that there may have been an accident. They're checking to see if there are injuries or fatalities, but they're not sure just yet.
Okay, so one more time, Monroe County, I'll make sure I got this right. Monroe County Coroner Alan Gurley calling us.
He said that his own garage door was blown in, the trees are down, their power is out, and there are power poles that are down. I called the sheriff, because the coroner said that he heard over the scanner there was an accident call called into emergency crews. And so I called the sheriff to double check. He said they're headed there now. They don't know if there are any injuries or fatalities at this moment.
Okay, that's our Aaron Wilson. Thank you so much for that update there. Hopefully it stays to no injuries and fatalities, but man, oh man, this has been one of those nights, right? We also, hey, by the way, we also, and are we retweeting the stuff coming in on Twitter? Alan, John, are we retweeting what's coming in on Twitter? Okay, there's a roof collapse apparently in the New Albany area as well of some sort. Hampton Inn roof collapse in New Albany, first responders on the scene. We will get to that here in a moment. You can see the track there because we still have this tornado on the ground. That's still probably a tornado. It might have cycled, but that's probably a tornado still or trying to reform. We're too close to the radar site that now it's messing up. Right there near West Road, just south of Quincy, that's our tornado debris still detected here. Our rotation is going to catch up here in a second. That's running ahead of the rotation. I would still call this a tornado observed and potentially on the ground looking at that. I want to make sure we don't have a second one because it looked like it was going to form a second one potentially. It has not. So it's just crossed Highway 8 and still is encroaching upon the Quincy area. Tornado debris has our best location right there. And so now we're talking less than a minute to 2 minutes into the Quincy area. Rotation that has produced a tornado that caused damage, potentially injuries, as you heard from Monroe County Coroner Alan Gurley just a couple of moments ago. And the damage description observed on this very recently. So this is a significant situation, one where you need to be in that tornado safe place if you live in Monroe County. A wider perspective here to adjust this so that folks ahead know where and what to expect. So now we're tracking this northward. This is going to include more locations up in Itawamba County. And notice one location, Smithville, that did not pop on the map. This is heading a little east of you. Now we have some Smithville addresses that are closer to the Parham area there. So clearly we need to be in that tornado safe place. I want to keep you in Smithville, not that I need to tell you, but I need to keep you in a tornado safe place nonetheless. Just the latest look at this, Hatley, same thing on that tornado safe place, but the latest look is slightly east, but there's just been enough movement on these. We've got to be very careful. Moving Parham, Turin, as you can see Tilden there as it works its way into Itawamba County. Damaging storm, damaging tornado, likely still producing damage at this moment. And a very significant rotation. Latest look on this now has it directly south of the Quincy area. Let's check the precipitation mode there. Let's see if you can still see a debris signature. Yes, this is our RFD, the wind's coming around. That's our tornado right there. New update coming in just a second here, so we'll wait for that to come across. Quincy, it's right over top of you now. Right along Athens-Quincy Road is where our tornado is now, believed to still be on the ground and doing damage. It's moving toward Old Highway 6. This is Highway 278. That's our radar site right there, and it's barely going to get missed. Whoa, now it's a jump. We do have two. Because we have our sustained one, but look at this curling back around there. That is the second one there. It was over top. We have two tornadoes on the ground now, one near Splunge and one near Quincy. It was right over top of the radar site when it did it too. Look at that. Yeah, that thing developed right over the radar site. We have two tornadoes on the ground at this moment. One near the Splunge community, one near Quincy at this time. Both could be damaging, and considering what we had earlier, we are very concerned that that this could be a deadly situation if not treated seriously. There's debris still there, and new debris signature reported here on Storm Track Doppler radar. If you live in Splunge, you need to be in that tornado safe place. And now you were not just a second ago in the track that we had, because that was a different circulation. Now Splunge, this is close. I'm going to take the angle wrong here for a moment so I can get Splunge into this. 3 minutes, but I know not a lot of folks live in Splunge. You live near Splunge. Tornado safe place now. Let's track that northward. if that were to continue, Turon, it shows in about 15 minutes. We've got to get a little more local than this now. So this is around Brown-Taylor Road. I mean, it's evident in the wind, but man, I'm just going to stick with the rainfall on this. The rainfall just shows the nasty curl that this has. Now I show it right along, is that Land Cemetery Road. At the intersection there, just north of Brown-Taylor Road, a tornado on the ground doing damage as we speak. Pray for the folks down there in Monroe County, because that's one of 2 tornadoes, and that is a significant debris signature, again showing up here on Storm Track Doppler radar. I'm going to go to the debris mode here. It's just a big black ball. That's not good stuff. We won't know how high this is up because it's just too close to the radar for us to scan high enough up. But this is a bad one again. And the movement of it has again been a little more north. In fact, that might be just west of north. This is going to track pretty close to the Parham area. There's Hatley-Detroit Road, there's Parham, there is Greenwright Drive, all locations in the path of this damaging, significant tornado. There are 2 tornadoes on this, at least at last check. I want to see if the east, yes, we still have definitely 2 tornadoes on the ground here. One north of Otis Cohen Road, south of Old Highway 6, north and west of Quincy, and yet another one that's the main one causing very significant debris. This is the one that caused the damage near Hamilton, still on the ground, significant, and then not even a couple miles away, another tornado on the ground out of this same thunderstorm. This is a violent thunderstorm. We don't get overnight thunderstorms that produce 2 tornadoes at once. Not like this. And this is not those spin-up style tornadoes where like maybe, maybe not. These are deadly tornadoes if you get hit by these. Be in a safe place. Be in that sturdy structure. We're now, and I'm going to update it because that's not going to, that position is going to update in a second. We're less than 3 minutes from a very significant tornado moving near the Parham area there. And then our other rotation there, our other tornado, likely near Quincy Cohen Road, and could also move toward Parham. These are going to kind of, what's going to happen? This is going to kind of go this direction, and this one's going to kind of go like that. And they're going to kind of rotate back around like this, if this plays the way this sometimes does. This one really should be gone by now, but it's still hanging on there, still probably producing damage. And this one's going to kind of go a little more north. So they're going to have this weird direction that they go as they dance because of the overall rotation of the thunderstorm. The damage tag with the National Weather Service, no shock here, considerable on the potential damage from these tornadoes. I got to go south real quick. We'll be right back in a second. Rotation down here south of Macon is less impressive. I mean, obviously less impressive. Still Macon within the next 5 minutes. We're southeast part of town there. We're watching that closely for you. Moving toward X Prairie and the Deerbrook area. Rotation still on this. We cannot confirm a tornado touchdown, but where we can confirm a tornado touchdown is down here south of the Scuba area. I'm going to see if I can get it on radar better. We don't have a good shot, but we do have tornado debris being detected right there near the old Electric Mills area. And so the time in the Scuba is going to be within about the next 5 minutes. Millington in 11 minutes, and Binsville there in about 15 minutes. As we track that farther north into our area, Paulette and Memphis, Alabama will be in the path of this as well. It shows Cooksville in 21 minutes, Dinsmore in 30 minutes. I'm going to go wider just so I can get in because we're going to be up there on those 2 significant damaging tornadoes for a few minutes here. They've also sped up the speed. Double check that 55 they're going on the speed. That might be the other tornado. Few trees reported down in the Tupelo area as well. There have been, as mentioned, some roof damage, some spots. We'll get to all that eventually. Scuba 6 minutes, Cooksville 22 minutes, Memphis, Alabama 37 minutes, 46 minutes in Pickensville. And this is on a line that could potentially take it toward Columbus. That would be a little difficult, but not impossible. Let's come back up here to Monroe County where a significant tornado remains on the ground. After you check that speed, would you keep an eye on that Scuba storm, actually not, the Macon storm, to make sure that doesn't ratchet back up. If you check that, John.
Also Facebook may be down.
Facebook may be down? No, I still have Facebook Live right here. We're still good. We're gonna get to that. So there was damage in New Albany too. We need to get some other stuff on here. Let's check. Just checking for reports. A lot of stuff out of Starkville, as you would imagine. So we're not gonna Not going to dwell on that because this is right there, Hatley-Detroit Road. It will be crossing the Hatley-Detroit Road east of the Parham area within the next minute, if not less. Our other tornado may have finally lifted right there. Okay, well, there it is. We're now past the Hatley-Detroit Road. This thing is moving fast. Is that north one moving 55? It seems like it's got to be close. It's moving faster than 45. Okay. So let's talk about this, Smithville. Obviously, we need you in a tornado safe place. Where is this going? Where is it at? So, these most violent tornadoes like this do sometimes come a little bit more northwest. And this is going almost straight north right now. The way we can tell if it's going to go northwest, one of the ways we can tell, on the precip mode, I should be able to see it kind of curling around. Oh, we might be too close there to get a good angle. I know it's weird that it'd be too close, but it would be a stretch for it to pull it all the way back to Smithville. I don't think this is going to come all the way back to Smithville. This is good. Now, Turon, that remains a possibility as it tries to kind of push it back, but that flash you saw there is all because tornado is still kicking out debris. So obviously we have some Smithville addresses out here. Near Filtrol Road, Pierce Chapel Road, Duncan Lake Road, Horseshoe Bend Road, all in the immediate path of this ball right there, which is a tornado that we believe to be on the ground. The tornado debris right there still significant and substantial and being lofted by this thunderstorm. This round circle here, one of two significant tornadoes we've had in Monroe County over the course of the last hour. Out of this thunderstorm, two that were on the ground at the same time. That does not happen unless you have an especially violent thunderstorm, and that's what we have right now on the ground. So that is moving. We're going to include Turon. We're going to include Smithville in this. We're going to include Academy and Tremont in this. So Academy at 12 minutes, and then Tremont there in 17 minutes. And that said 55, right? Alan, is that what we came up with, 55? Okay, 55. Then we're going to cut down those times, unfortunately. So your prep time is starting to run out. Neither Academy nor Tremont are in this tornado warning. We'll have to see if they go ahead and extend it. Considering the violent nature of this, I'm not waiting for a tornado warning in Tremont. 14 minutes or less, it's onto your doorstep. You make that choice. Academy, 10 minutes as it moves toward you. This is a significant, damaging, and could be deadly situation. The wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar continues to show a strong tornadic circulation on this. Moving northward, approaching Pierce Chapel Road. How far away is it? So that circulation, right now, I would put no more than maybe a mile and 1 minute south. I've got to go up to 55 miles per hour on that. But no less than a minute south of Pierce Chapel Road. So where else? What else is in the path? Turon, as we've mentioned. Turon is going to be within the next 2 minutes. It's going to be crossing Duncan Lake Road and Turon Community if it were to make it to you within 4 minutes. Our Aaron Wilson with more information. We need to get you mic'd up for this, but go for it.
Multiple houses, structural damage, multiple injuries, and one man was thrown from his trailer.
Oh, God.
But they said that he is alive. They have not confirmed any fatalities. This is all in Hamilton, in the Monroe County area. But they did say multiple houses were damaged, multiple injuries, and one trailer was definitely demolished and a man was thrown from it.
God bless me. Okay. Thank you, Aaron.
Also in Union County.
Yeah, go for it.
This has not completely been confirmed.
The Hampton Inn?
Yeah, the Hampton Inn.
We have video. If you dig back through my Twitter, just look at WTVA, Matt, dig back through, you can find it. We might want to cut that and get it ready for the news in there. Okay. There should also be some pictures in there, but the Hampton Inn?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. We will get that. Thank you, Aaron. It's our Aaron Wilson reporting from here behind the scenes as they continue to check with folks on the ground there. Now north of Pierce Chapel Road. Now Turon, we're no more than 3 minutes away, and we're no more than 1 minute away from that Duncan Lake Road. A tornado on the ground doing damage. The tag's still considerable and a life-threatening situation. You heard what they said down around the Hamilton area a little bit ago. Let's walk this back south. When the first tornado was on the ground down near the Hamilton area, reported that this damage you see here included a trailer that was demolished and a person thrown from that trailer, just like you might be thrown from a car. Cars and mobile homes easily lifted and thrown away. So you've got to be in a safer structure than that. So that is the backdrop that goes with the discussion with these tornado warnings that we have. We've been up there on that one. We're going to take a second. We're going to come down here south. We're still relatively broad down here in Oktibbeha County. A tornado warning continues for you. I apologize we haven't been down here much. We have Alan and John watching the storm behind the scenes here, and they've been watching broad rotation. We don't have the concise pixel-to-pixel wind change here like what we have up north. Less likely this is one of those significant damaging tornadoes, but still a possibility that this could produce a tornado at some point in the future. Our radar data is farther away. It's not perfect if it's close up, but it's definitely not perfect the farther away it gets. The cloud there in 1 minute, X Prairie in 4 minutes, Ravine in 12 minutes, Forest in 21 minutes, Lake Lowndes in 28 minutes. And that obviously begs the question, what about Columbus? So let's track this northward and see what about Columbus. So if we look at this, I don't know that the angle is right for Columbus. It could potentially still clip it. We get a long track, and this will go quite a ways. Hold on, how fast is this one? This one's going... Hold on, let's double check that. That was my 55 for the storm up north. I want to make sure that that is the correct speed. I don't know that that is down there. In Oktibbeha County, they're going 45 miles per hour, so we're too fast. So let's clean that up. Let me know if it's not 45. So let's adjust those times. There we are. It shows about 36 minutes in the Columbus, Steens in 44 minutes, Whiteberry community, which is very near the New Hope area, of course, in 31 minutes, Ravine 13 minutes, and X Prairie, it is on your doorstep now. Farther south, there is another one that we are watching that has produced damage, that has prompted a tornado warning for Pickens County, Alabama. This rotation here, long-lived, and as we mentioned a moment ago, previous reports of damage. Millington 3 minutes, Dinsmore 22 minutes. Aliceville in 31 minutes, Carrollton 44 minutes, and Ethelsville in 53 minutes. Rotation that has produced damage in the past. Is it producing it now? Not sure. There may still be some debris being wafted up because of this, but I'm not as convinced. I think there's still some debris right there near Geiger, and no guarantees that's still tornado on the ground. You saw the locations a moment ago. We're going to have to address this in more detail here in a minute. We got to go north and check out our other tornado warning. They have extended the tornado warning to include locations around Tremont, as well as now include locations in Marion County, Alabama. Aaron?
I'm just letting you know I'm mic'd up and I'll be able to report it.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. When we're ready, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. So we'll get Aaron over there, and she'll be giving us some of the reports from the damage that we've had. Let's look here at the debris mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. We still show the debris there. We do show that it has expanded a little bit. It is encouraging to say that our tornado looks like it is weakening somewhat near Old Aberdeen Russellville Road on the Itawamba and Monroe County line. Smithville proper, your tornado threat is over. You're in the all clear if you live within the city, the immediate city limits. I'm always hesitant to say within the city limits because sometimes there's some stuff that goes on there. But I do believe we could again see another tornado try to form on the east side of this. This one's still probably on the ground, possibly on the ground. But there could be another one that tries to develop. The storms that cycle, go through this life cycle, that they try to do it over and over again. This one could be one of those where it tries to go through that life cycle again and produce another tornado. So let's track the primary tornado, the one that has been damaging, the one that could still be on the ground, the one that is now just north of Beltone Road, just north of Duncan Lake Road in Itawamba County, that's moving toward Academy, south of Highway 23, and is on a trajectory, on a path that will take it toward the Tremont area if it were to hold together. Tremont, we're now down to 12 minutes for you. Are we still, Alan, on this north one here, 55 miles per hour? I feel like we might have slowed just a little bit on it. They're down to 50 miles per hour on that track. So let's adjust that to 50. Okay, and I'm going to adjust it forward just a little bit. Now we're 6 minutes in the Academy, 10 minutes into the Tremont area rotation that could potentially be a tornado on this thunderstorm. We need you in your tornado safe place if you live in Tremont. We say it over and over again. This is where it needs to be. A sturdy structure on the lowest floor. Find a small windowless room, wrap up in blankets and pillows, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. Think middle, down. I used to use it was duck. I think it was duck is down, low, underneath, cover yourself up, and I can't remember what K was. But the reality is you want to get down in the middle and underneath something and protect your head. from that potential for flying debris. Aaron, do you have an IFB?
No, I don't.
Yeah, go ahead and get an IFB in. John, do you have an IFB? Let's get IFBs in. Behind the scenes, that's some jargon to make sure everyone can hear everything. When we get severe weather, we need to have those in. Let's see if this is about to try to do it again. You can, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this may have lifted. What did you say, Alan?
45 miles per hour.
45. I don't know if it was ever 55, but okay, 45 miles per hour. And it's about to cross Highway 23. It'll be close to the Academy area when it does. It's near Salis Road. Right now, it's on a path that'll take it pretty close there to Tremont. So now we're down to 8 minutes into the Tremont area, 4 minutes in Academy, and I want a longer track on this. And then there's one other thing I want to talk about. And then we have to look on the east end there to see if that's going to redevelop right there. Academy 4 minutes, 9 minutes in Tremont, and it's really 8 minutes as you saw a second ago. Eastman in 17 minutes, Mooresville in 29 minutes. I have no clue why it's not wanting to put on Fairview School. So I'm going to move it to where I can get it on here. We're going to do it the manual way. Okay, so let's go 45 miles per hour. So the Fairview School area, we're talking about 20 minutes at this speed, about 8 to 9 minutes into Tremont, about 4 minutes in Academy, about 19 minutes into the Eastman area. If we were to pull northwestward, Clay in 12 minutes. And one thing I know for sure, it would be next to impossible for this to pull far enough back to the north and west to make it to Fulton. I still would love for you to be in your tornado safe place if you live near Fulton or Tilden or Val Buren or Van Buren or Cardsville. But the reality is east of you is where this is most likely going to track. And it's probably about to spawn another one if history serves. It might not be immediately. Hopefully we get a little break here between them. Hopefully it doesn't do it again. But still, there's our tornado debris with this storm system. Still significant tornado debris on that, though more of it. I am curious what this is there. Let's look at precip.
It was someone sending us video.
Okay, that's slight. I'll bet that if you go back, that's one scan right where it's supposed to be. Yeah. Okay, so our tornado debris updating there. It's actually pretty close in that tornado debris signature, tracking toward Tremont at this time. So, I mean, if I were you, I would be treating this like this is still potentially a tornado on the ground doing damage at this moment. And the new development, this is at least strong straight line winds moving toward Bexar, and perhaps the potential that could again try to spin up a tornado on that front end there. One more time rainfall mode, and then we're going to go check. We're going to go wide, make sure we're not missing something. Man, this has been a wicked storm. We're going to watch the far east part there. We're still 5 minutes or so before that happens. Let's get one more. Let's get a track. Get some folks ahead of that. This is likely to stay north and west of Hamilton regardless. Bexar in 6 minutes, Scottsville 12 minutes, Vina in 23 minutes, and Old Burleson there in just about 26 minutes if it holds together. Let's go wide. Let's see where we're at. Let's do an overall assessment. Let's make sure we're not missing something here. You have the big tornado warning down in Pickens County we are going to address here in a minute. Let's do something that might seem counterproductive, but let's do a quick go to sleep. And if you live out in this zone here, you're officially go to sleep. Let me type it up so we have it right there on the screen for you. And because it's been one of those nights, we're going to leave it capitalized because reasons. Go to sleep, okay? If you're back here in this zone, Houston, Louisville, Starkville, Western Clay County, Tupelo, Boonville, Corinth, everything west, Calhoun City, go to sleep. You are done with this. There's no reason to stay up with us all night long. If you're east of this, there are still threats. We are analyzing those, and they do include the potential for tornadoes. And as we've clearly seen within the last hour, not just tornadoes, but strong tornadoes. Okay, so farther south here, let's check the one that's there near Cooksville, moving toward Cochran and Memphis, Alabama. And then it looks like they have allowed the tornado warning for Noxubee County to expire. So let's look at the wind mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. We still have rotation in that northern Noxubee County one, so we will get a track on that in a moment. I think this is probably a good angle. Let's make sure that verifies. That's pretty good. Okay, so Cooksville in 4 minutes, Aliceville 21 minutes now, Carrollton in 32 minutes, Reform in 43 minutes, and the Zion community on the Alabama side within 52 minutes. This is rotation that could be a tornado and has previously produced tornado damage at this point. So that's what we are monitoring there. And then the northern of those rotations, and then I'm going to touch on a severe thunderstorm warning here in a second. Ravine 2 minutes, Foreston in 11 minutes, Ethelsville in 21 minutes, Steens in 29 minutes, Millport in 36 minutes. So watching this very closely as we continue to monitor those areas of rotation. Severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Monroe. It does clip sections of Itawamba and Lee counties. That's in effect until 12:30 a.m. Storm track Doppler radar looking at, I'm going to look at precip mode here, the rainfall mode, how hard the rain is falling mode. And so this is that strongest wind. We were talking about, how you had that push from the west that was eventually going to get here. That is the push. And so the damaging wind potential, what we're watching out of this as it moves east, there are still some spots along that line. They're showing some signs of rotation, but they're just not quite as impressive. So I got to get over here to this one. We're in a weird spot. The radar doesn't always nail it, but right there near Bexar, we might have our next one developing. Yes, right there near Bexar, I-22. This is about to be our next tornado in the next couple minutes here. We're south of Scottsville. Old tornado, new tornado. Old tornado likely lifting, new tornado right there. South of Bexar is where our new tornado is going to be touching down, if not over top of I-22. So if you know somebody that might be traveling out here for locations in Itawamba and Marion counties along I-22 between Hamilton and Tremont, they cannot go. This is potentially a tornado on the ground at this moment. I need you behind the scenes, if you can, to queue up Weather 2 here in a second, because I'm having an issue. I'm going to have an issue here on Weather 1 here in a moment. Actually, give me a moment here before you do that. I'm going to pull up street level mapping on John's here, and then we're going to roll. So give me just a second to get that up. Yeah, I'm going to need Weather Chroma Weather 2 here in just a moment once we get this up, okay? So Bexar, this is crossing there, I-22 within the next couple of moments. What we believe to be a damaging tornado is about to form if it has not already formed. Let's go back to the wind mode here, crossing I-22 now. Okay, now that I have this up, go to Weather 2. What I need, John, is I need you to go to Weather 1 and restart Max 1 here in a second. Is this Weather 2? There we are. Restart Max 1 because it's locking up on me. It's had enough of this, as if the rest of us haven't. But this is about to produce a tornado, again, potentially right here along I-22. This is, so this is the Mississippi, this is Alabama, this is the Mississippi-Alabama state line right there. It's just on the east side of the Mississippi-Alabama state line is where this is wrapping up. Let's get a track on this that tracks it toward the Scottsville area. Speed on this has been about 45 miles per hour. That's what we're going to anticipate. It does again near Scottsville as it moves northeastward. Scottsville is all I have in the path of this. So let's get a wider shot, and then we're going to do a few more county roads. This is not the most populated part of the WTVA 9 News viewing area, but we know we do have dedicated viewers out here. Bexar now, Scottsville 6 minutes, Vina 18 minutes, Piney Bend in 27 minutes, and Gwynn Crossroads in 32 minutes. Rotation that could develop into a tornado extremely soon. As the National Weather Service is noting with us, a surge right now occurring on this with a damaging wind potential and this tornado attempting to spin up as we speak. Let's go to the debris mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. I do not have tornado debris at this moment, thankfully. Because of that, take 2 seconds here and let's see our dissipated tornado, and let's make sure that that is dissipated. There are a couple areas we still have some rotation there around Academy and Tremont. I don't have anything nearly like what's happening right here on the other side of Alabama state line. So obviously stay in your tornado safe place if you're out here in northern and eastern Itawamba County. This is the next big one that's trying, considering the history of this storm. This one's not playing. Yep, that's about to do it. If it hasn't produced a tornado now, it will within the next couple moments. It's wrapped around there again, right there, right along I-22. So hopefully got folks stopped. Should have been mentioning that earlier. Clearly, if there's a tornado warning, you don't want to drive into that. make contact with folks. And now we're looking like it's going to be here, so let's get our highways correct. I'll have to zoom it in a little bit to make sure they pop on. So County Highway 56, Marion County, Alabama, approaching Scottsville. Tornado we believe to be at the very least developing, if not already on the ground. Considering what we've had today, we believe that to be a likelihood that it will touch down within the next few moments here if current trends hold. That is probably producing a tornado. If it's not, it is about to. Because, I mean, and this isn't just a meteorology thing here. I mean, you can literally see it curled back around from both sides. Like, it's got to be producing a tornado or about to. And that's moving towards Scottsville. Let's get the angle right, make sure we got Scottsville on there. These have moved more north the last few times, and there are some indications this is going to be on the west side of Scottsville. County Road 1, 3, so County Road 13, where this is going to track along. What we believe to be a tornado in the development phases right now. I can check another version of our radar here on the wind mode, and I should be able to probably get an equally impressive look at this. You can see more of the reds and greens swirling around with this on this here. Severe hit, if you'll open up the severe hit and put the severe hit in play, I'll be ready for that. And then here in a minute, we're going to flip back over to weather 1. Once we get that up, I'll let you know when we're going to do that, Austin. But this is likely a tornado on the ground, and I should be clear here. The radar's not perfect, so I might say it's here just as easily could be, that half-mile farther east. But it's in this zone where it will be crossing Reedy Branch Road up here, approaching Scottsville within the next few moments, within the next couple of minutes at most. So I'm going to place it no more than 2 miles south of Scottsville now, and at the speed it's moving, that's maybe 2.5 minutes at most. So this is a significant tornado, likely causing damage, or at least about to be. Let's go back over to max 1 if we could. So Austin will go back to max 1. Okay, here we are. Significant tornado, we'll wrap up right there. Let's look at the debris mode. It's frankly just a matter of time. Unless we're completely wrong on this, it's likely just a matter of time before we see some debris show up on this, unfortunately. So here's hoping, knock on wood. But this just considering what we've had. Let's define what we're looking at. We have not had confirmation of this tornado touchdown yet, but that always comes after the fact. Rotation is very strong, and this is curled up and trying to produce a tornado. And tonight, when we've seen it wrap up like this, that's that. We've had tornadoes. So our pixel-to-pixel wind change, its strongest. Okay, that says 38 miles per hour. I want you to ignore that because I don't agree with that. There's a couple of places in here. It might not have quite touched down yet, but it's trying. You have right here and right here. You probably have a very violently rotating wall cloud, and this wind coming back around is trying so hard. So if this hasn't produced a tornado approaching Scottsville, this is extremely damaging, strong straight line winds that it will have with it as well. But that straight line wind is trying to wrap back around and produce that tornado. So I still feel fairly confident that this is going to do it, unless there's something dramatically changes about this. We're probably moments away from this producing a tornado. I want to double check farther north. I assume that the tornado warning we have up here for Franklin County, likely the same storm, just looking at some of the latest info here. So that's my thought. So let's get a longer track on this. And obviously this is basically over top of Scottsville now. And I'm going to immediately clear that because we have a new position on that. So basically over top of Scottsville. And you can see Red Bay we do continue to have in the, hold on. That is incorrect because it locked up. My speed was wrong. 45 miles per hour. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Scottsville 1 minute, Vina 13 minutes, Red Bay 17 minutes, Seven Pines 21 minutes, and then Pogo in 28 minutes. This is a rotation that likely is a tornado in the generation phase if it hasn't touched down. I don't have debris yet, so here's hoping it's doing the dance and not quite doing it right. Because as we look down here, that is extremely tight rotation right there, just south and west of the Scottsville area, along Reedy Branch Road. Okay, let's briefly take a second here. Let's talk to our Aaron Wilson, who has some information, I believe, on what's going on now. Aaron, what do you got?
Yes, Matt, right now we are getting in reports of multiple injuries and multiple homes that have been damaged due to a possible tornado in Monroe County. We also know that a trailer home was destroyed and a man was thrown from it. Now, this came from the coroner in Monroe County. We also know that the Hampton Inn Hotel may possibly have had roof damage done to it. We have confirmed with the sheriff there that there is a heavy law enforcement presence there trying to figure out exactly what's going on there. I just got a report that a tree is down in the center of in the middle of Center Hill Road in Hamilton, Mississippi. Now, they did say that they were checking to see if there were any more injuries or fatalities. When I was on the phone with the coroner, he did say that he did get an accident report or heard an accident report over the scanner that could possibly lead to them finding more injuries in this storm. But right now, we did check with the sheriff. He did say that he is trying to follow up and find out exactly what's going on and who's been hurt or if there have been any fatalities. Right now, we do know again that there are multiple injuries in Monroe County, multiple homes that have been damaged. We did get a report that a